Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about solitude, a state so often misunderstood, especially for women. Society may whisper that a woman without friends is incomplete, lonely, or somehow lacking. But let me tell you something, solitude is not the absence of company, it's the presence of power. It's in the quiet moments when no one is watching that the most profound transformations happen. A woman with no friends isn't weak, she's discerning. She isn't isolated, she's intentional. Such a woman knows that her value isn't defined by how many hands clap for her, but by the strength of the foundation she builds within herself. Let us explore what it means to walk a solitary path, not with despair, but with purpose and pride. Because sometimes standing alone means you've grown beyond the need to lean on others. Silence is often misunderstood. Many see it as an absence, a void, or even a sign of weakness. But for a woman who walks alone, silence is far from empty. It's full of strength, intention, and purpose. When a woman embraces silence, she steps into a space where she is no longer defined by the expectations or opinions of others. In that quietness, she discovers a power that speaks louder than any words ever could. Silence becomes her sanctuary, her refuge from the chaos of the world. It is in these still moments that she learns to listen not to the noise of others, but to the voice within herself. For too long, society has taught women that their value lies in their ability to be heard, to be seen, to be surrounded by approval. But a woman who chooses solitude redefines that narrative. She understands that true strength doesn't come from being in the spotlight, it comes from the ability to stand firm in the shadows, unshaken and unapologetic. In silence, she finds clarity. The absence of chatter allows her thoughts to settle like calm waters, revealing truths that are often obscured by the turbulence of daily life. She gains perspective, sifting through what truly matters and discarding the rest. This clarity becomes her compass, guiding her decisions, her actions, and her vision for the future. Silence also gives her the gift of observation. When you are quiet, you begin to notice what others overlook. You see beyond the surface, catching glimpses of people's intentions, their fears, their insecurities. This insight becomes her strength, enabling her to navigate the complexities of relationships in the world with wisdom. She doesn't waste her energy reacting to every word or action aimed at her. Instead, she reserves her responses for what truly deserves her attention. For a woman walking alone, silence is not passive. It is deliberate and active. It's a form of resistance against a culture that demands constant noise and validation. It's her way of saying, I don't need to explain myself to anyone. This kind of silence is not just a tool, it's a shield. It protects her from the negativity and doubt that others might project onto her. She learns to let go of the need to prove herself, understanding that her worth is inherent and doesn't depend on external affirmation. Moreover, silence is where she finds her creativity. In a world constantly demanding her attention, quietness gives her the space to imagine, to dream, and to create. Ideas that might have been drowned out by the world's noise come to life in her solitude. Whether it's writing, painting, building a business, or simply reshaping her own life, silence fuels her creativity like nothing else. There's a spiritual depth to silence as well. It connects her to something greater than herself. In the absence of distraction, she can meditate, pray, or simply be present. This connection brings her peace, grounding her in a way that external validation never could. She realizes that she doesn't need to seek outside for what she already has within a deep well of strength, wisdom, and grace. When a woman masters the art of silence, she becomes unshakable. Words may be spoken against her, doubts may be cast, and judgments may arise, but she remains unmoved. Her silence is not a sign of submission, it's a sign of power. It's her way of taking control of her narrative, refusing to be defined by anyone but herself. This silence can be intimidating to others. Many won't understand it because they've never experienced its transformative power. They might mistake her quietness for weakness, her solitude for sadness. But she knows better. She knows that silence is not the absence of something, it's the presence of everything she needs. It's the presence of focus, clarity, strength, and self-awareness. So when a woman embraces silence, she's not withdrawing from the world, she's engaging with it on her terms. She's choosing to walk a path of intentionality and purpose, free from the distractions and expectations that hold so many others back. And in doing so, She discovers that silence is not just a space she occupies, it's a force she wields. A woman who values quality over quantity in her relationships understands something profound: not all connections are created equal. While the world often celebrates the number of friends someone has, she knows that a handful of genuine, meaningful relationships outweighs an army of superficial ones. She isn't interested in collecting acquaintances or filling her life with people for the sake of appearances. Instead, she chooses depth over breadth, authenticity over pretense, and substance over show. This mindset doesn't come from arrogance or a lack of social grace, it comes from experience. She has likely walked paths where she gave too much of herself to too many people, only to realize that not everyone is deserving of her time, energy, or trust. She has learned, sometimes painfully, that surrounding yourself with people who do not truly see, value, or understand you can leave you lonelier than walking alone. This lesson shapes her approach to relationships, making her careful, intentional, and selective. For her, quality relationships are built on trust, mutual respect, and shared values. These are the connections where she can be her true self, no masks, no pretenses, no need to shrink or exaggerate any part of who she is. These are the people who celebrate her victories without jealousy and stand by her in her struggles without hesitation. They don't seek to compete with her or bring her down, they rise with her. And together they create a bond that is unshakable. This pursuit of quality requires discernment. She doesn't rush to open her heart or her life to just anyone. Instead, she observes, listens, and takes her time. She watches how people treat others, how they respond in moments of adversity, and whether their actions align with their words. It's not about being judgmental, it's about protecting her peace and ensuring that her circle is one of safety, encouragement, and positivity. Being selective doesn't mean she avoids relationships altogether. On the contrary, she cherishes connection, but only when it's genuine. She knows the value of a conversation that goes beyond surface-level pleasantries, where thoughts, ideas, and emotions flow freely. She seeks relationships where vulnerability is met with compassion, not criticism, where growth is encouraged, not stifled. Choosing quality over quantity also means being comfortable with solitude. She doesn't fear being alone because she knows her worth isn't tied to how many people are in her life. She understands that it's better to have a few authentic connections, or even none at all, than to compromise her peace by surrounding herself with people who drain her energy or bring negativity into her life. This comfort with solitude is a strength, not a weakness. It allows her to set higher standards for the relationships she does pursue, knowing that she can thrive on her own if necessary. This approach often leads to deeper, more fulfilling relationships. When she invests in someone, it's with her whole heart, and she expects the same in return. She doesn't settle for half measures or lukewarm commitments. Her relationships become sources of inspiration, joy, and strength because they are built on a solid foundation of mutual care and understanding. Her focus on quality also teaches her the value of letting go. She doesn't cling to relationships out of obligation or fear of being alone. If someone proves to be toxic, untrustworthy, or no longer aligned with her journey, she releases them with grace. She understands that holding on to the wrong people only creates space for more pain and prevents the right people from entering her life. Letting go isn't easy, but she knows it's necessary for her growth and well-being. The choice to prioritize quality over quantity can be misunderstood. Some might see her as aloof or distant, assuming she doesn't care about forming relationships. But the truth is the opposite: she cares deeply. She simply refuses to settle for relationships that don't nourish her soul. She knows the difference between being alone and being lonely, and she chooses the former over the emptiness of shallow connections. In valuing quality, she also inspires others to do the same. Her relationships set an example of what's possible when people approach connection with intention and authenticity. She proves that it's not about how many people you know, but how well you know the people who matter. She shows that a single, meaningful friendship can bring more joy and support than a room full of acquaintances who don't truly understand you. By prioritizing quality, she builds a life filled with love, respect, and positivity. She creates a circle of people who uplift each other, celebrate each other's successes, and provide strength in times of need. These relationships are her refuge, her inspiration, and her source of strength. They are a testament to the power of choosing quality over quantity, of valuing depth over appearances, and of building a life filled with authenticity and meaning. Self-sufficiency is a cornerstone of strength for a woman who walks alone. It is not born out of a desire to isolate herself or reject the help of others, but rather out of a deep understanding that, at the end of the day, she is the architect of her own life. She has learned that relying too heavily on others can lead to disappointment, vulnerability, and a loss of control over her own destiny. Through her journey, she has cultivated the resilience, resourcefulness, and confidence needed to stand on her own 2 feet, regardless of the circumstances she faces. A self-sufficient woman doesn't view independence as a burden but as a privilege. She understands that being able to rely on herself gives her freedom to make her own decisions, chart her own course, and live life on her own terms. This independence isn't limited to material or financial matters. It extends to her emotional and mental well-being. She has learned to manage her emotions, face challenges head-on, and find solutions without constantly leaning on others for support. Her journey to self-sufficiency often begins with necessity. Perhaps she has faced situations where help wasn't available, where she had no choice but to figure things out on her own. These moments, though difficult, became the crucible in which her strength was forged. She realized that in solitude, a woman finds wisdom that often eludes those caught up in the hustle of life. When there are no distractions, no external voices vying for her attention, she has the space to truly connect with herself. This is where the deepest form of learning occurs, not from books, not from others, but from the quiet space within her own mind. As she sits with her thoughts, reflecting on her experiences, she uncovers truths about herself, the world, and her place in it. In those moments of quiet contemplation, clarity emerges, and the wisdom she seeks comes not from an outside source, but from within, where her heart and mind have the freedom to understand without interruption. Solitude offers her a mirror in which she can see herself more clearly than in any crowd. Without the influence of others' expectations or judgments, she can examine her life with honesty, untangling the complexities that often cloud her perspective. Here, there is no need to pretend, no need to conform to anyone's standards but her own. In this space, she can fully embrace her flaws, acknowledge her strengths, and take stock of her personal growth. She is able to reflect on what has worked in her life and what hasn't, and most importantly, why. The wisdom of solitude lies in the ability to truly listen to one's inner voice, the voice that often gets drowned out in the noise of daily life. In the quiet, she can discern what her heart truly desires and what her mind needs to achieve peace. She understands that the answers to many of life's questions aren't necessarily out there waiting to be found, but are instead waiting within her to be uncovered. This wisdom helps her make decisions that align with her true self, rather than being swayed by outside influences or fleeting trends. As she spends time alone, she also comes to understand the depth of her own resilience. In moments of solitude, she faces the raw reality of her emotions and confronts her fears without the comfort of external support. These are the times when she learns the most about her strength, when she realizes that even in the darkest moments she has the power to carry on. It's in these solitary moments that her inner resilience is tested and forged, and she emerges from them stronger, more confident, and more equipped to handle whatever life throws her way. Solitude also cultivates a deep sense of intuition. With no distractions to cloud her judgment, she can tap into her inner wisdom with greater clarity. She becomes more attuned to the subtle cues of the world around her, those quiet signals that others may miss, but that speak volumes to her. This heightened sense of awareness allows her to navigate life's challenges with a level of discernment that comes from being in tune with herself and the world. Her intuition becomes her guide, helping her make decisions that are aligned with her values and her purpose, rather than being swayed by the noise and confusion of external pressures. Moreover, the wisdom she gains in solitude is not just intellectual but emotional as well. She learns how to navigate her feelings without allowing them to overpower her or dictate her actions. In her alone time, she discovers emotional maturity, the ability to process her emotions, understand their root causes, and use them as tools for growth rather than allowing them to control her. She learns that emotions, though powerful, are not the enemy, they are simply messages. And it is through understanding them that she can gain a deeper understanding of herself and her journey. As a result, the wisdom she acquires through solitude becomes a foundation upon which she builds her life. It influences her choices, guides her relationships, and shapes her worldview. She approaches the world with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing herself deeply and trusting her ability to navigate whatever comes her way. This wisdom is not something she flaunts, it is something she embodies, radiating from her in the way she carries herself, makes decisions, and interacts with others. Solitude for her is not a place of emptiness, but a place of profound growth and understanding. It is where she reconnects with her core, where she listens to her own inner voice, and where she taps into a well of wisdom that can't be found anywhere else. In the quiet of her own company, she comes to know herself fully, and in doing so, she uncovers the strength, resilience, and wisdom that allow her to live her life with purpose, clarity, and an unshakable sense of who she is. A woman who understands the power of boundaries has a profound sense of self-respect and an unshakable commitment to her own well-being. She knows that boundaries are not just lines in the sand, they are vital structures that preserve her peace, her energy, and her personal growth. These boundaries are not about pushing others away or creating walls for the sake of isolation. They are about protecting herself from the emotional and mental exhaustion that can arise from being overextended, disrespected, or manipulated. Through her understanding of boundaries, she learns to define where she ends and where others begin, asserting her right to live life according to her terms, not anyone else's. Setting boundaries is a deeply empowering act. It means choosing to say no when necessary, even if it's uncomfortable, and resisting the societal pressure to please or accommodate others at the expense of her own well-being. It means recognizing her own needs, desires, and limits, and understanding that she is not responsible for fulfilling everyone else's expectations or demands. A woman who sets boundaries refuses to be a doormat, a people pleaser, or a caretaker for others' emotions and needs at the cost of her own. She understands that her time, her energy, and her emotional resources are finite, and she has the right to protect them. Learning to set boundaries isn't always easy. In a world that often expects women to be all things to all people, to constantly give without receiving in return, it can feel like an act of rebellion. But for her, the act of drawing boundaries becomes an essential form of self-care. It is the only way she can maintain her sense of identity and preserve the space she needs to grow. In truth, boundaries are not about building walls to keep people out. They are about creating healthy, respectful connections based on mutual understanding. When she sets clear boundaries, she gives others the chance to understand her needs, values, and limitations, allowing for more genuine and respectful relationships to form. One of the most powerful aspects of boundary setting is the ability to prioritize her own needs without guilt. A woman who sets boundaries recognizes that she is not a resource to be drained by others, nor is she a vessel to be filled only by the demands of others. She knows that it is okay to take a step back, to say no to requests, to withdraw from situations that are draining, and to invest in her own peace and personal growth. She does not need to apologize for creating space for herself. In fact, she recognizes that doing so is a necessity for her own well-being. These boundaries can be emotional, physical, or psychological. Emotionally, she guards her heart against toxic people or situations that might drain her energy or compromise her self-worth. She refuses to allow others to manipulate her emotions or make her feel responsible for their happiness or well-being. Psychologically, she protects her mental space by choosing carefully what information she allows into her mind, what messages she internalizes, and how much mental energy she devotes to things that are beyond her control. Physically, she sets limits on how much time she gives to others, recognizing that her body and her time are just as valuable as anyone else's. A woman who has mastered boundary setting also understands that it is an ongoing process. Boundaries are not something she sets once and then forgets. They are dynamic, ever evolving as her life changes and as she grows. As she gains more confidence and self-awareness, she may find that her boundaries need to be adjusted, strengthened, or redefined. She may learn new ways to communicate her needs, refine how she protects her energy, or realize that she has been allowing too much negativity or drama into her life. This flexibility allows her to continuously recalibrate her boundaries in a way that serves her best, ensuring that she is always honoring her own needs and values. In relationships, boundaries help foster deeper, more respectful connections. When she communicates her limits clearly and confidently, she invites others to engage with her in a way that is healthy and mutually respectful. She is not afraid to express when something feels uncomfortable or when she needs space. Through her boundaries, she teaches others how to treat her, and she demands the same respect that she gives in return. People who truly value and care for her will not only understand her boundaries, they will honor them. Those who fail to do so, or who push back against her boundaries, reveal their lack of respect, and it becomes easier for her to distance herself from relationships that are toxic or one-sided. Ultimately, Setting boundaries allows her to reclaim her personal power. It is an act of self-respect that not only protects her but enhances her relationships, her mental clarity, and her sense of self. By defining what she will and will not tolerate, she establishes a life that is aligned with her values and aspirations, not the expectations of others. Her boundaries act as a reflection of her inner strength and wisdom, guiding her through life in a way that honors her true self. She becomes a woman who no longer needs to justify her choices, explain her needs, or apologize for taking care of herself. And in doing so, she sets an example for others of what it looks like to live with intention, respect, and the unshakable belief that her peace and well-being come first. A woman who embraces the power of silence understands that it is not a void but a source of strength. Silence is often seen as uncomfortable or even awkward in a world that is constantly bombarded with noise, whether that noise comes from people, social media, or the expectations of society. But for her, silence is a space for deep reflection, self-discovery, and clarity. She understands that there is immense power in choosing not to react, not to engage in every argument, not to fill every moment with words or actions. She recognizes that silence is not weakness, it is a powerful tool that allows her to control her environment and her emotional responses, allowing her to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. By practicing silence, she learns to master the art of self-control. She knows that the world can often provoke her. People may say things that are hurtful, situations may arise that frustrate or anger her, and yet she chooses not to give in to knee-jerk reactions. Instead, she takes a step back, takes a deep breath, and creates space between stimulus and response. In that space, she can make a more measured decision about how to respond. This pause becomes her superpower, for it allows her to retain control over her emotions, her thoughts, and her actions. It is a practice of choosing peace over conflict, reflection over reaction, and wisdom over impulse. Silence also provides her with the clarity needed to evaluate situations and people from a place of neutrality. When she is silent, she is able to detach herself emotionally from the noise around her and observe situations more objectively. She is not clouded by the rush of anger or frustration that often accompanies reactive behavior. Instead, she can take a step back, assess the true nature of the situation, and respond in a way that aligns with her values and long-term goals. This clarity allows her to avoid unnecessary drama, to make decisions that are in her best interest, and to engage with others from a place of groundedness rather than emotional reactivity. Silence also allows her to avoid giving away her power. In a world that often encourages people to speak out, share their opinions, and engage in every conversation, she recognizes that not every situation deserves her energy. She doesn't feel the need to justify herself, explain her actions, or give unsolicited advice. Instead, she keeps her peace and uses her energy in ways that align with her personal growth and her purpose. By not always reacting or offering her opinions, she retains a sense of mystery and strength. People come to realize that when she speaks, her words carry weight because she chooses her moments carefully. She understands that not everything requires a response, and that sometimes silence is the most powerful statement of all. In relationships, silence can be equally powerful. There are times when words are unnecessary, when offering a listening ear, providing comfort through presence, or simply allowing someone to express themselves in a space of silence can be more healing than any advice or response. A woman who masters silence knows when to speak and when to hold her tongue. She understands that not every issue needs to be confronted head-on, and not every question requires an immediate answer. By not filling every moment with her voice, she allows room for others to express themselves, think for themselves, and reach their own conclusions. Moreover, silence enables her to protect her energy. In a world full of distractions and demands on her time and attention, she knows that to thrive, she must be intentional about where she invests her focus. There are moments when engaging in unnecessary conversation or conflict would drain her energy, leaving her depleted and less able to pursue her personal goals. By choosing silence in such moments, she preserves her energy for what truly matters, for her passions, her growth, and her purpose. The power of silence is also rooted in the ability to listen. In a noisy world, most people are eager to speak but often fail to listen with intention. A woman who understands the power of silence listens not just with her ears but with her heart and mind. She listens not only to what is being said but to the unspoken words, the body language, the underlying emotions. This deep listening allows her to understand people at a level that others may miss. She can discern the true needs, desires, and intentions of others, which gives her a profound understanding of the world around her. Through silence, she also learns to listen to herself. In the quiet, she reconnects with her inner voice, the one that often gets drowned out by the noise of daily life. In silence, she finds the space to hear her true thoughts, to feel her true emotions, and to understand her own desires and needs. This deep connection with herself enables her to make decisions that are true to her, rather than being swayed by external influences or the opinions of others. A woman who understands the power of silence is not afraid of being alone with her thoughts. She doesn't need constant external validation or stimulation to feel whole. She finds fulfillment in solitude, for it is in these moments that she reconnects with her purpose and her sense of self. In silence, she is able to gather strength, clarity, and wisdom, which she then carries with her into the world. Ultimately, the power of silence allows her to live life on her terms. She speaks when necessary, acts when needed, and listens with intention. She understands that silence is not the absence of communication, but a deliberate choice to engage with the world from a place of wisdom, self-control, and inner peace. In the stillness, she finds her voice, her power, and the ability to navigate life with grace and strength. A woman who understands the importance of inner peace knows that it is the bedrock upon which everything else in her life is built. Inner peace isn't just a fleeting moment of calm, it is a consistent state of being that she cultivates, nurtures, and defends. It is the ability to remain grounded and centered even in the midst of chaos, to find stillness amidst the storm, and to stay true to herself in a world that constantly demands her attention and energy. For her, inner peace is not a luxury, but a necessity, for it allows her to navigate life's challenges with grace, clarity, and resilience. She understands that inner peace begins with a strong connection to herself. It is rooted in self-acceptance, in the ability to be comfortable in her own skin, and to love herself unconditionally. This self-acceptance is not about perfection, it is about embracing her flaws, her imperfections, and her unique qualities. She knows that true peace comes from within, not from external validation or the approval of others. She doesn't need to seek constant reassurance or approval from those around her because she is confident in who she is and what she stands for. Her self-worth is not determined by external factors, but by her own sense of value and integrity. Inner peace also comes from learning to let go of things she cannot control. She recognizes that many of life's challenges are beyond her influence, and the key to peace is releasing the need to control every outcome. This doesn't mean giving up or being passive, it means understanding that some things are simply out of her hands and that stressing over them will only drain her energy and disrupt her peace. Whether it's the behavior of others, external events, or the uncertainty of the future, she accepts that she cannot control everything. This acceptance frees her from the grip of anxiety, worry, and frustration, allowing her to focus on what she can control: her thoughts, her actions, and her response to the world around her. One of the most powerful ways she nurtures her inner peace is by setting boundaries that protect her emotional and mental well-being. She knows that in order to maintain peace, she must guard her energy fiercely. This means saying no to people, situations, or commitments that drain her or disrupt her sense of calm. She does not feel obligated to engage in every social event, to meet everyone's expectations, or to fulfill every request made of her. She understands that prioritizing her own peace is not selfish, it is necessary for her to show up as her best self in every area of her life. By setting clear boundaries, she creates a safe space where she can recharge, reflect, and focus on her own well-being without the constant pressure of external demands. She also understands the importance of forgiveness in maintaining inner peace. Holding on to resentment, anger, or past hurts only poisons her heart and mind, preventing her from experiencing the freedom that comes with peace. Forgiveness for her is not about condoning hurtful behavior or excusing wrongdoings, it is about releasing the burden of carrying negative emotions that weigh her down. She understands that forgiveness is an act of self-care, a way to free herself from the past and to move forward with a sense of lightness and clarity. When she forgives, she frees herself to heal, to grow, and to embrace the present moment without the shadow of past wounds clouding her vision. Meditation, mindfulness, and reflection are tools she uses to cultivate and maintain her inner peace. She understands the value of taking time each day to center herself, to quiet the noise of the world, and to connect with her inner thoughts and emotions. In these moments of stillness, she can reflect on her life, process her feelings, and gain the clarity needed to navigate the challenges of the day. Whether through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in silence, she makes space for introspection and self-awareness. These practices allow her to stay grounded, to observe her thoughts without judgment, and to find peace in the present moment rather than worrying about the past or the future. Her inner peace also manifests in her ability to detach from drama and negativity. She understands that not everyone will share her vision, her values, or her peace. There will always be people who try to provoke, criticize, or drag her into conflict. But she has learned that she doesn't need to engage with negativity. She doesn't need to defend herself against every attack, explain herself to every critic, or get involved in every argument. Instead, she recognizes when it's best to walk away, to let go, and to preserve her peace by choosing not to get involved in situations that will disrupt her sense of calm. In relationships, inner peace allows her to communicate more effectively and to engage in healthier, more harmonious connections. She is able to listen without judgment, to speak without anger, and to respond with empathy and understanding. Her inner peace enables her to maintain balance in her interactions, even when others may be upset or emotional. She doesn't take things personally, and she doesn't allow the moods or behaviors of others to dictate her own state of mind. Her peace is unshakable. Because it is not contingent on the actions of others, it is a reflection of her own inner strength and self-awareness. Ultimately, her inner peace is a source of strength that extends beyond herself. It influences every aspect of her life, from her career to her relationships, her health to her personal growth. By maintaining her inner peace, she becomes a beacon of calm and clarity in a world that can often feel chaotic and overwhelming. Her peace radiates outwards, inspiring others to seek their own tranquility and to live in alignment with their true selves. She knows that when she is at peace within, she is better equipped to face the challenges of life, to support those around her, and to live a life that is aligned with her deepest values and desires. Inner peace is not just a state of being, it is a way of living that allows her to thrive in every aspect of her existence. A woman who has learned the art of self-reliance understands that her strength comes from within. She knows that she is her own foundation, and that her ability to navigate life's challenges, to pursue her dreams, and to create the life she desires does not depend on anyone else. She is not waiting for someone to come along and complete her or to make things happen for her. She is fully aware that the power to transform her life, to shape her future, and to overcome obstacles lies within her own hands. In essence, self-reliance is not about isolation or independence in a rigid sense. It is about recognizing that the source of her strength, her capability, and her resilience is rooted in her own inner resources. Self-reliance begins with a deep understanding of her own capabilities. She knows that she is not limited by external circumstances or the opinions of others. She doesn't need validation or permission to pursue her dreams or to take risks. She is confident in her abilities and trusts that she has everything she needs within herself to handle whatever comes her way. This confidence is not born from arrogance, but from a place of quiet, knowing that she is capable of facing adversity and growing from it. She doesn't need to look to others for answers or solutions because she has the tools within her to figure things out. Her self-reliance also stems from her capacity for problem-solving and critical thinking. When faced with obstacles, she doesn't panic or become overwhelmed. Instead, she calmly assesses the situation, considers her options, and takes action. She is resourceful, able to find creative solutions to problems, and unafraid to experiment or fail along the way. Failure, for her, is not a sign of weakness, but an opportunity for growth. She learns from her mistakes, adapts, and moves forward, knowing that setbacks are a natural part of the journey. This mindset allows her to remain resilient, to bounce back from adversity, and to continue progressing toward her goals. A woman who is self-reliant also understands the importance of taking responsibility for her own life. She does not blame others for her circumstances, nor does she wait for external factors to change before taking action. She knows that she is the author of her own story and that her actions, decisions, and mindset determine the course of her life. This level of personal responsibility gives her the power to create change, to set boundaries, and to chart her own path. She does not rely on others to rescue her or to make decisions for her. She takes ownership of her choices, knowing that her life is a reflection of the decisions she has made. Self-reliance also manifests in her ability to take care of herself, both physically and emotionally. She recognizes the importance of self-care and understands that her well-being is her own responsibility. She prioritizes her health, her mental peace, and her personal growth. She doesn't rely on others to make her happy, to provide for her, or to give her a sense of fulfillment. Instead, she actively engages in practices that nourish her body, mind, and soul. Whether it's through exercise, meditation, reading, or spending time with loved ones, she takes proactive steps to ensure that she is in a state of balance and well-being. This self-care routine is not a luxury, it is a necessity for her to maintain the energy and clarity needed to live her life to the fullest. While she is deeply self-reliant, this does not mean that she isolates herself from others. She understands that seeking support when necessary is not a sign of weakness but a part of being strong. She knows how to build a support network of people who uplift, inspire, and empower her, but she is not dependent on them for her sense of self-worth or happiness. She is capable of standing alone, but she also recognizes the value of healthy, supportive relationships. She seeks out those who respect her boundaries, share her values, and contribute positively to her life, but she does not rely on anyone else to complete her or to define her. In relationships, self-reliance allows her to be an equal partner, rather than relying on someone else for emotional validation or fulfillment. She enters relationships from a place of wholeness, knowing that she is responsible for her own happiness and well-being. She does not look to others to solve her problems or to meet her every need. Instead, she brings her own strength, wisdom, and resources to the table, and she seeks relationships that are built on mutual respect, shared values, and a willingness to grow together. This mindset creates partnerships that are based on interdependence, not dependence. A woman who is self-reliant is also incredibly disciplined. She knows that achieving her goals requires consistent effort, focus, and determination. She doesn't wait for the perfect moment or the right conditions to pursue her dreams. She takes action regardless of the circumstances. She understands that success is not a result of luck, but of hard work, persistence, and the ability to stay focused on her objectives. She doesn't rely on motivation from others. She generates her own drive and stays committed to her vision, even when faced with challenges or distractions. Her self-reliance also extends to her emotional life. She is able to manage her emotions with maturity, understanding that her feelings are her own responsibility. She does not rely on others to make her feel valued, loved, or secure. Instead, she nurtures her own emotional well-being by practicing self-love, self-compassion, and emotional intelligence. She understands that no one else can complete her, because she is already whole. She recognizes that her emotional health is her own responsibility, and she takes proactive steps to maintain a balanced and centered emotional state. Ultimately, self-reliance is about empowerment. It is about knowing that no matter what happens in life, she has the strength, the wisdom, and the resources to handle it. She is not waiting for someone else to step in and change her circumstances. She is taking full ownership of her life. She understands that she is the one who holds the keys to her own freedom, success, and happiness. Her self-reliance is not about shutting out others or refusing help. It is about knowing that she is fully capable of shaping her own destiny, regardless of the challenges she may face. She knows that her true strength lies in her ability to trust herself, to believe in her own power, and to take action with confidence and courage. A woman who has embraced the importance of purpose in her life is someone who operates with clarity and conviction. She wakes up each day with a sense of direction, guided by a deep understanding of why she does what she does. Her purpose is the driving force behind every decision she makes, every action she takes, and every challenge she faces. It is not a vague idea or a passing thought. It is a clear, unwavering force that shapes the course of her life. She knows that without purpose, life can feel directionless, and success can feel hollow. But when she is aligned with her true purpose, she feels fulfilled and deeply connected to her work, her relationships, and her overall life path. For her, purpose is not about external recognition or success in conventional terms. It's not about pleasing others, gaining approval, or accumulating wealth for the sake of status. Instead, purpose is deeply personal. It is the alignment between her inner values, her passions, and her actions. It's the profound understanding that her life has meaning beyond the surface level. This clarity allows her to make decisions that are aligned with her authentic self, instead of being influenced by the expectations or judgments of others. She is not living according to what others think is best for her, but rather according to her own sense of what matters most. Purpose gives her the ability to navigate life with resilience, because when things get tough, she can draw strength from the knowledge that she is working towards something greater than herself. When faced with setbacks, disappointments, or challenges, she doesn't lose heart or give up. Instead, she views these obstacles as stepping stones, as part of the process of fulfilling her greater purpose. She understands that purpose is not about avoiding difficulties, but about finding meaning and growth within them. Every setback is an opportunity for her to learn, to grow, and to refine her path. She doesn't become discouraged by failure because she knows that it is a necessary part of the journey toward realizing her purpose. A woman with a clear sense of purpose also has the confidence to take bold action. She is not afraid of stepping outside of her comfort zone or taking risks because she knows that her purpose is worth pursuing, even if it requires making sacrifices or facing uncertainty. She understands that the road to fulfilling her purpose is not always easy or straight, but she is willing to put in the work, to take the risks, and to make the tough decisions necessary to achieve her goals. She doesn't wait for the perfect moment, or for all the conditions to be right. She moves forward with determination, guided by the belief that she is on the right path. Having purpose also brings a sense of clarity when it comes to setting boundaries. She knows that in order to stay focused on her purpose, she must guard her time, her energy, and her attention. She does not allow distractions or the demands of others to pull her away from what truly matters. This doesn't mean she is selfish or unwilling to help others. Rather, she understands that in order to be of service to others, she must first honor her own purpose and well-being. She sets clear boundaries around her time and energy, knowing that her purpose requires undivided attention and commitment. She is selective about how she spends her time, making sure that every choice aligns with her long-term vision. Her purpose also allows her to approach relationships with authenticity. She is not looking for people to fill a void or to validate her worth. Instead, she seeks relationships that support and align with her values and goals. She is drawn to people who inspire her, challenge her, and encourage her to grow. She does not stay in relationships that drain her energy or take her off course. She values quality over quantity, understanding that meaningful, supportive relationships are an essential part of her journey. But she also understands the importance of distance from relationships that are toxic or misaligned with her path. Purpose also fuels her personal growth. As she moves through life with intention, she is constantly evolving and expanding. She seeks knowledge, experiences, and insights that will deepen her understanding of herself and the world around her. She is not static or complacent, but is always looking for ways to grow, improve, and expand her capabilities. She challenges herself to step up to new opportunities, to embrace new challenges, and to push the boundaries of what she thought was possible. Her purpose acts as both a compass and a catalyst, directing her toward opportunities for growth and helping her recognize when she needs to evolve in order to stay aligned with her true path. A woman with purpose also embraces her unique contribution to the world. She understands that her purpose is not a singular, isolated pursuit, but rather something that impacts the people around her and the world at large. She recognizes that she has a unique set of gifts, talents, and experiences that she is meant to share with others. Whether through her career, her creativity, her relationships, or her community involvement, she knows that her purpose is about serving others in a meaningful way. She doesn't wait for permission or validation to step into her calling. She embraces it with open arms, knowing that her work is important and valuable. Having a clear sense of purpose also allows her to be adaptable. While her purpose provides a solid foundation, she is not rigid or inflexible. She is willing to adjust her plans, to pivot when necessary, and to find new ways of achieving her goals. She knows that the journey toward fulfilling her purpose is not linear, and she is open to learning and growing along the way. She doesn't fear change or uncertainty because she understands that these are natural parts of the process of transformation. With purpose as her anchor, she can move through change with confidence and resilience. Ultimately, her sense of purpose empowers her to live a life of fulfillment and meaning. She is not merely existing, she is actively living in alignment with her deepest values and desires. Her purpose gives her the drive to get out of bed every morning, to face the challenges of the day, and to pursue her dreams with passion and enthusiasm. It is the fuel that keeps her moving forward, even when the road gets tough. And when she reflects on her life, she knows that the most important thing she has done is to live with purpose, to follow her true calling, and to make a difference in her own way. A woman who has discovered the value of solitude understands that it is not a sign of weakness or loneliness, but rather an opportunity for deep reflection, personal growth, and self-discovery. She knows that the times when she is alone are some of the most valuable moments in her life. Solitude provides her with the space to reconnect with her inner self, to listen to her thoughts without the noise and distractions of the outside world. In this quiet, she gains clarity, focus, and a deeper understanding of who she is and what she wants from life. In a world that often emphasizes the need for constant social interaction, distractions, and external validation, the ability to embrace solitude is a powerful skill. She recognizes that solitude is not about being isolated or cut off from the world, but rather about choosing to spend time alone in order to recharge, reflect, and reconnect with her true essence. These moments of solitude allow her to process her emotions, reflect on her experiences, and evaluate her life from a place of stillness. She doesn't need to be surrounded by people to feel fulfilled. In fact, she knows that spending time alone allows her to be fully present with herself, enabling her to understand her own needs, desires, and boundaries. In solitude, she can reflect on her past, her present, and her future. It's a time to evaluate her choices, her growth, and the lessons she has learned. It is also a time to assess her goals and dreams, ensuring that she is still aligned with her true purpose. She can take a step back from the busyness of life and gain a bird's-eye view of where she's been and where she is going. In the silence, she can process what is truly important to her, and the things that no longer serve her can fall away. She finds the strength to let go of what holds her back and to embrace the clarity that comes with quiet contemplation. Solitude is a space for creativity and self-expression. Without the constant pressure to perform to meet the expectations of others, or to keep up with the demands of the world, she can tap into her own inner creative wellspring. Her mind becomes a playground of ideas and possibilities, unencumbered by outside opinions or judgments. Whether it's writing, painting, creating, or simply daydreaming, the solitude gives her the freedom to explore her passions and to express herself authentically. It's a time when she can create for the sake of creating, without worrying about approval or validation from anyone else. This creative freedom is a profound source of joy and fulfillment, and it nurtures her spirit in a way that external accomplishments never could. Solitude is also a powerful tool for emotional healing. When life presents challenges, heartache, or struggles, being alone allows her to process her emotions at her own pace. She doesn't have to rush to explain her feelings or conform to societal expectations of how she should react. In solitude, she can cry, reflect, or simply be still without the need to justify herself to anyone. This emotional space allows her to heal and regain her strength so that when she re-engages with the world, she does so from a place of emotional stability. She recognizes that it is only through embracing her emotions fully, without judgment or suppression, that she can truly move forward and grow stronger. In solitude, she also learns to cultivate a deeper sense of self-love and self-acceptance. Without the noise and distractions of others, she can reconnect with her own worth and value. She doesn't rely on the validation of others to feel good about herself. Instead, she nurtures her own sense of confidence and self-esteem. She learns to appreciate her own company and to enjoy the peace that comes from being alone with her thoughts and desires. Solitude teaches her that she is enough just as she is, and that her happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from external sources. Moreover, time spent in solitude allows her to become more attuned to her intuition. Without the constant chatter of others or the pressure to make decisions based on outside influences, she can tune into her inner voice, that quiet, guiding force that knows what is best for her. Solitude creates the mental and emotional space needed to discern the difference between external noise and her own inner wisdom. She learns to trust her instincts, make decisions based on her own values, and move forward with confidence in her own path. This intuition is her greatest ally, guiding her through uncertainty and providing her with the insight she needs to navigate life's complexities. In solitude, she is also able to deepen her relationship with God, the universe, or whatever higher power she believes in. These moments of quiet reflection allow her to center herself spiritually, to reconnect with her faith, and to seek guidance. She recognizes that she is not alone in her solitude. She is in the company of a higher presence that provides her with comfort, direction, and support. This spiritual connection nurtures her soul and strengthens her sense of purpose, enabling her to live her life with a deeper sense of meaning and fulfillment. Through the practice of solitude, she learns the art of being present. When she is alone, she becomes more mindful of the present moment, focusing her attention on what is happening right here and right now. She learns to appreciate the small details of life, the quiet moments of beauty that often go unnoticed when surrounded by noise and distraction. This mindfulness helps her cultivate gratitude for the simple things, and it enhances her overall well-being. In solitude, she is free to be fully herself, without the need to conform to anyone else's expectations or demands. Solitude also teaches her independence. She is not dependent on others for her happiness, her sense of worth, or her ability to find peace. While she values meaningful connections with others, she knows that her inner peace and happiness do not come from outside sources. She has the strength to stand alone, to face life's challenges without relying on others for validation or support. This independence gives her the freedom to live her life on her own terms, to pursue her passions, and to create a life that reflects her authentic self. Ultimately, the woman who embraces solitude understands that it is not about being alone in a physical sense, but about finding a sense of inner peace and self-connection. She uses her time in solitude to recharge, reflect, and grow, and she emerges from these moments stronger, clearer, and more aligned with her true purpose. She knows that it is through solitude that she can truly hear her own voice, trust her own instincts, and find the strength to create the life she desires. Ladies, if you've ever felt like the world questions your worth because of the path you walk alone, remember this: the tree that stands alone grows the strongest roots. A woman without friends is not a woman without value. She's a woman who has found her strength within herself.